Cairndhu House, near Larne, County Antrim, was built for Mr. Stuart Clark at some stage after 1878. Mr. Clark was a wealthy Scottish textile industrialist. He married Annie, daughter of John Smiley and sister of Sir Hugh Houston Smiley BT. Their daughter Edith married Sir Thomas Dixon in 1906. Cairndhu comprises 2 stories and many gables, though its style is vaguely oriental, given that it boasts ornate, openwork barge boards and an elaborate wooden veranda and balcony running for most of the frontage. The house was later extended in 1897 to the designs of Samuel P. Close. A collection of small buildings were on the site, presumably a farm, which in 1857 was called Seaview, the property of Robert Agnew. Mr. Clark bought Seaview in 1878 and would appear to have rebuilt it rather than remodeled or extended it, as there is now no trace of any earlier buildings. The architect of the initial phase of Clark's building may have been Mr. Close. Cairndhu was extended by Mr. Clark at various times, the last time reportedly being in 1906. Sir Thomas and Lady Dixon purchased Cairndhu in 1918. They added the servants' dining hall. In 1947, the Dixons donated the house and 162 acres of land to the Northern Ireland Hospitals Authority. Sir Thomas Dixon, 2nd Baronet, married Edith, youngest daughter of Mr. Stuart Clark, of Dundas Castle, South Queensferry, Scotland and Cairndhu, in 1906, at Dalmeny Church, South Queensferry. Edith Clark was the sister of Sir John Stuart Clark, 1st Baronet. After their marriage, the Dixons lived for varying periods at Greymount House, Hillsborough Castle, Dromedarick, Luttrellstown and Lucan, before purchasing Lady Dixon's childhood summer residence, Cairndhu. The estate increased in size to nearly 500 acres when the adjoining properties of Drofe, formerly Sir Edward Coey's estate, and Cairnfunnick, William Shen's property, were purchased. The Dixon family held many house and garden parties and entertained public dignitaries with grouse shooting in the Antrim Hills. More improvements were made to the house, including the servants' dining hall. The house was beautiful and Cairndhu had a large workforce, with 20 indoor staff, kitchen staff, ladies' maids and upstairs staff. Sir Thomas occupied his time with livestock farming, including a herd of dairy cows. The farm office, stables and cattle buyers were based at Hillhead Farm, now the clubhouse of Cairndhu Golf Club. Mr. Frank Brownlow was responsible for looking after the extensive herds of cattle and sheep at Cairnfunnick, Cairndhu and Hill Land at Ballibally. He traveled to auctions all over Ireland to purchase cattle for Sir Thomas and managed the farm at Cairndhu. The land at Cairndhu was used for grazing cattle, mainly shorthorns and Galloway cattle, which were bred for beef. 2 or 3 mornings per week they would inspect the cattle together, and if Mr. Brownlow pointed out to Sir Thomas that neighboring farms were for sale, such as Drofe Farm, Sir Thomas would buy them and knock down hedges to have his fields extended for grazing. Sir Thomas often had his chauffeur, Sandy Moreland, drive him round the fields in his yellow and black Rolls-Royce to see his cattle, land stewards and head gardeners. There were 22 gardeners and estate workers. In 1937, when Cairnfunnick was merged with Cairndhu, Mr. Brownlow was responsible for the management of the whole estate, which consisted of 500 acres. In September 1939, at the outbreak of World War II, Sir Thomas, as mayor of Larne 1939-41, handed over his Larne residence for use as a war hospital supply depot and organized the YMCA canteen at the harbor. Lady Dixon was president of the Ulster Fund and War Hospital Supply Depot for Serving Forces Larne Depot, with donations requested in October 1939 to purchase necessary materials. Sir Thomas provided his land, though he and Lady Dixon were able to live independently in Cairndhu without being affected. The Cairnfunnick walled garden grew cabbage, cauliflower and other vegetables that were used in Cairndhu or taken to Lady Dixon's friends and family. In 1940, Lady Dixon gave one of their 3 Rolls-Royces to be converted into an ambulance for first aid parties to the Larne ARP ambulance service. In May 1947, Sir Thomas celebrated his 79th birthday, and the occasion was marked by announcing a generous gift. After 40 years at Cairndhu, the Dixons donated their 60-room family home, with 100 acres of the estate, to the Ministry of Health and local government for use as a convalescent home and hospital. At the time, Lady Dixon said that she was very sorry to be going away from the house that her father built. "It's too big for us now, though. It was different in the days when we could entertain. Sir Thomas died on holiday at the Majestic Hotel, Harrogate on May 10, 1950, aged 81. His body was brought back on the Stranraer steamboat en route to his last residence, Wilmot House in Dunmurry. The funeral service was held at Belfast Cathedral before burial at Dundonald Cemetery. His younger brother Herbert, who had already been elevated to the peerage as first Baron Glentoran, succeeded him in the baronetcy. At the time of Sir Thomas's death, his effects were valued at over £389,000. Cairndhu was officially opened as a convalescent hospital in 1950, but funding difficulties meant that, in 1986, it was closed down by the Department of Health and Social Services. In 1995, the Lord Rana purchased Cairndhu House and the surrounding gardens from the council. A public consultation was held in 2018 over plans to develop the site of the derelict mansion into retirement village facilities and a care home. Cairndhu was originally built as a summer residence in 1875 on a beautiful site overlooking the sea, which hitherto had a small amount of planting around a former smaller house called Sea View. The trees, forming an effective shelter belt, date from the late 19th century. The site benefited initially from the shelter belts of the adjoining property, Cairncastle Lodge, now Cairnfunnock Country Park. These adjacent sites are now both administered by Larne Borough Council. Gardens developed round the house with steeply terraced lawns. The grounds rise on a steep slope from sea level, east to west.